Think you know history? Think again. Welcome to History Pulse, where we uncover the most mind-blowing facts your school never told you. From forgotten inventions to bizarre traditions, these are stories that will completely change how you see the past. This is 100 History Facts Schools Never Told You. Part 1. Let's dive in. 1. The first movie was a horse. In 1878, photographer Edward Muybridge lined up 24 cameras along a racetrack to solve a mystery. Do horses ever lift all four hooves off the ground? His rapid-fire photos proved they do and created the world's first moving picture. Cinema was born from a galloping horse. 2. Selling the Brooklyn Bridge. Con artist George C. Parker sold the Brooklyn Bridge over and over to unsuspecting victims in the early 1900s. He even sold the Statue of Liberty. This bizarre scam gave us the phrase, "I've got a bridge to sell you." 3. Taft in the bathtub. President William Howard Taft, weighing over 350 pounds, once got stuck in a White House bathtub. Staff had to rescue him, and a giant custom tub was ordered. History can make a splash. 4. The Great Seal Bug. In 1945, the Soviets gifted a carved wooden Great Seal to the U.S. ambassador in Moscow. Inside hid a passive bug with no wires or batteries. For 6 years, it secretly transmitted embassy conversations before being discovered in 1952. 5. Atlantis Myth or Memory. First mentioned by Plato around 360 BCE, Atlantis might be just a legend. Or was it inspired by real places like the Minoan civilization destroyed by a volcanic eruption? Historians still debate the truth. 6. The Uncrackable Book. The Voynich manuscript, discovered in 1912, is written in an unknown language and filled with strange drawings. No one has ever cracked it. Hoax or lost knowledge. 7. First American alarm clock. In 1787, Levi Hutchins built the first mechanical alarm clock in America. It rang only at 4 a.m., no setting, no snooze. Customizable alarms wouldn't appear for another 60 years. 8. Christian Dior's heir, fashion icon. Christian Dior once hired a 19-year-old assistant, promising his mother the boy would replace him if anything happened. Dior died months later. That boy was Yves Saint Laurent, who went on to revolutionize fashion. 9. A skeleton's advice. In 2012, archaeologists in Turkey uncovered a 2,400-year-old mosaic showing a skeleton with bread and wine and the words, "Be cheerful, enjoy your life." A timeless message from the ancient world. 10. From party gas to surgery saver. In the Victorian era, laughing gas was a party trick, until a dentist noticed people under it felt no pain. That discovery sparked modern anesthesia and changed medicine forever. 11. The first mechanical alarm clock. In 1787, Levi Hutchins of New Hampshire built America's very first mechanical alarm clock. But there was a catch. It rang only at 4 a.m., the exact time Hutchins himself wanted to wake up. There was no way to change the hour. Adjustable alarms wouldn't appear for another 60 years, meaning early risers had to live by one-man schedule. It's a quirky reminder of how everyday inventions often begin as personal solutions before they evolve into something useful for everyone. 12. The secret seal of the Soviets. During the Cold War, the Soviets presented the U.S. ambassador in Moscow with a beautifully carved wooden replica of the Great Seal of the United States. It looked like a patriotic gift and hung in his office for years. Hidden inside, however, was a passive listening device with no wires or batteries, activated remotely by a radio beam from outside the embassy. For 6 years, the Soviets secretly listened to private conversations until the bug was discovered in 1952, shocking Western intelligence and forcing the U.S. to rethink embassy security. 13. The origin of a shot of whiskey. On the American frontier, cash was scarce. Thirsty cowboys who were short on money could offer a bullet instead of coins for a small drink. The exchange became known as a shot of whiskey because you literally paid with a shot. The term stuck long after bullets left the bar, and today we still ask for a shot without realizing its Wild West origins. 14. The man who sold the Eiffel Tower. In 1925, master con artist Victor Lustig posed as a high-ranking French official and staged a fake auction to sell the Eiffel Tower for scrap metal. Wealthy businessmen fell for the ruse and handed over a fortune. Lustig even tried the scam a second time before fleeing to America. His audacity made him a legend among swindlers and proved how powerful a convincing story can be. 15. The real thugs of India. The word thug isn't street slang, it comes from India. In the 18th century, a secret cult called the Thuggee preyed on travelers, strangling them with silk scarves as offerings to the goddess Kali. When the British uncovered the network, they crushed it, but the name survived. Today we use thug casually, unaware of its bloody and ritualistic origins. 16. The pink tanks of World War II. In the blazing deserts of North Africa during World War II, British troops discovered that tanks painted in desert pink blended far better with sand than the usual greens or browns. Under the harsh sun, the pale hue made armored vehicles almost vanish against the horizon, giving them the advantage of surprise. Pink tanks may sound absurd, but this clever camouflage saved lives and was even reused decades later. 17. The baker's dozen. In medieval England, bakers faced harsh penalties for selling underweight bread. To avoid punishment, they began giving an extra loaf, 13 instead of 12. This baker's dozen wasn't generosity but self-protection. The tradition lives on centuries later, even though most people have forgotten the strict laws that created it. 18. The woman who discovered climate science first. In 1856, American scientist Eunice Foote proved that carbon dioxide traps heat and could affect Earth's climate, the foundation of modern climate science. But because she was a woman, her work was ignored and later credited to others. Only recently has Foote been recognized as the first to describe the greenhouse effect. Her story shows how easily groundbreaking research can be overlooked. 19. The teddy bear's origin story. On a 1902 hunting trip, President Theodore Roosevelt refused to shoot a tied-up bear, calling it unsportsmanlike. The story hit the newspapers, and a New York toy shop created a plush Teddy's bear in his honor. That simple act of compassion sparked one of the world's most iconic toys. What began as a moral stand became a global phenomenon. 20. The first moon hoax. In 1835, a New York newspaper published a sensational 6-part series claiming life had been discovered on the moon. Forests, oceans, even bat-winged people. It was pure fiction, but triggered one of the first media frenzies in history. The moon hoax proved that the public's hunger for spectacular discoveries can blur the line between fact and fantasy, a lesson still relevant today. 21. The town crier, the original newsfeed. Before newspapers, radios, and social media, villages had one main source of news, the town crier. Dressed in a colorful coat and hat, bell in hand, he would walk through cobblestone streets, shouting the day's announcements, from royal decrees to local gossip. For many illiterate citizens, his booming voice was the only way to know what was happening. The town crier wasn't just a messenger, he was entertainment, rumor mill, and public relations all in one. His word carried the weight of truth, or scandal, shaping public opinion long before hashtags ever existed. 22. Why we call a dollar a buck. Long before paper money, American frontiersmen traded in buckskins, tanned deer hides used as a form of currency. One high-quality buckskin had a set value and could be exchanged for goods, services, or even whiskey. When actual dollars arrived, people kept calling them bucks out of habit. The name stuck for over 2 centuries, echoing a time when commerce ran on fur and frontier grit. Every time you slap down a dollar bill today, you're handling a linguistic relic of the American wilderness. 23. Poussez your uncle. The phrase "Bob's your uncle" dates back to 1887, when British Prime Minister Robert Bob Cecil appointed his nephew Arthur Balfour to a powerful post in Ireland. The blatant nepotism was mocked across the country. People joked that if Bob's your uncle, you are guaranteed success. Over time, the phrase lost its political sting and became a cheerful way to say, there you go, or simple as that. What started as a scandal ended up as one of Britain's quirkiest idioms. 24 cocktail, from horses to drinks. Long before it meant a mixed drink, the word cocktail described a horse. In the 18th century, horses with their tails docked upright were called cocktailed, a sign of a mixed breed. The term gradually shifted from animals to alcohol, first used for mixed spirits in taverns. Today, no one thinks of horses when they order a cocktail, but the name still carries a gallop from its equestrian past. 25 soccer versus football. Why do Americans call it soccer? Back in the 1860s, football had two versions: rugby football and association football. British students nicknamed association football ASOS, or soccer for short. The slang crossed the Atlantic and stuck. Meanwhile, rugby stayed rugby. So when you hear soccer, you're actually using an old British term that Americans simply never dropped. That was just the beginning. 25 mind-blowing history facts your school never told you. But we're not done yet. There are 75 more incredible stories waiting for you in part 2. Click now to watch the next episode of 100 History Facts Schools Never Told You and keep exploring the past like never before.